So guys, welcome back to the new video. As you may know when playing on the ranked ladder at the moment, the meta is kind of strange. The Ishizu cards had a way bigger impact than everyone thought and that I thought. So everyone is trying out Ishizu cards in every kind of deck, and of course there are some really strong decks, but like the ranked ladder experience is super strange right now. It's like there are so many different decks. Me personally, I don't like it at the moment because to get a really strong deck, I would have to craft stuff that I do not want to craft. I only wanted to collect the Ishizu fairies to use them for the upcoming tier element deck, and I don't want to craft anything else, so not a Ishizu zombie deck or the new runic Ishizu deck where I would need to craft 3 ultra rares for. I'm on a budget as well and need to keep my gems and my ultra rare points together, as you may be also. So today let's look at a variant that I found online and let's see how good this is. This is Despia Ishizu. I was running the Despia deck on the ladder before this variant, and to moderate success, I must say. I have the feeling that the Despia deck at the moment is not the greatest, because, and that was obviously always the case, once your branded fusion gets ashed, you are basically done for your turn. That's the big weakness of the branded deck. This is even more fledged out here in Master Duel, as ash is a more prevalent card than maybe in, for example, in the TCG, but let's see what this can do. Let's look over it. This is, like, in most parts a basic branded list. Here's a branded Retribution, which I normally play the branded, let me look. I normally play the branded Banishment here in this spot, but that's alright. I'm ready to try this out. Then we have, of course, the Ishizu fairies. Reason being that this deck has also fairies like Alubur. Then Despian Tragedy is a fairy, yeah, this is a dragon, so this has fairy synergy. And you also play the Herald of the Orange Light, which is a negate, which forces you to drop another fairy from your hand. Then you can drop your Ishizu cards, which are then in the graveyard and can use their effect from there. Or you could also send this for cost and draw a card, or draw a branded card with this. So there's a synergy in this deck. I think that mainly the shufflers, Mudora, and I think who is also a shuffler, I think Mudora and Keldo are the shufflers, right? That shuffle back into the deck. Yeah, that's right. So I think these are the more important or more impactful cards, because shuffling cards from the graveyard into the deck is pretty good against, for example, decks like Runic Sprite, where you can shuffle their runic cards, or against deck like Swordsoul, where you can shuffle their tennies. Against Branded Despia, where you can shuffle their targets for Branded in red. I think these cards can do very much. The shufflers here, they are more special, and I'm not quite sure if they have a place in this deck, because milling cards to the graveyard in Branded Despia, yeah, that's okay, I think, because you can hit, for example, this and then draw a branded card, but or you can get this into the grave, which can then protect one of your cards. I think it's not bad, but it's not super amazing as well. So let's see what this can do, and let's hop into the first replay I've got for you. So guys, let's go. As I already said, I want to find out with you together if the branded Ishizu strategy can do something in this matter, or if it can't. So we are starting here and we are going first. So at this moment we don't have any Ishizu cards in hand. I will fast forward this a bit. Allure of Darkness, of course. Then I drop the Albion for cost. Then Branded Opening, because we need a play, which is then Alubor, who can get us to our Branded Fusion, which it does. And fortunately, we get to resolve this, so we don't get ashed, which is pretty good. We have the Lubellion, and from here out is standard play. I activate the Lubellion and I drop the Ash, because I'm thinking, okay, I want to keep the Branded in red for the end phase, and Max C I value more than I value Ash. So yeah, let's see how this goes. We are going for the basic Mirror Jade line, nothing special here. The good thing is that I can keep this live. I do not need to use the effect of the Mirror Jade to get to the Branded in red, because we already have it. We have the Ad Libitum in hand, and we basically have the Chimera setup. So he goes for Lightning Storm, but of course I have the Branded Opening, which I can banish to protect. Now here comes Martha, and firstly I am going Max C, which fortunately for me resolves. So we have this going for us, then Martha and the other Exorcister, and now I decide to use the Mirror Jade to get rid of one of these cards, because Of course, they can just XYZ together, and that's not something I want to do. So I go and banish the Albion, or put the Albion to the grave to get the search in the end phase, of course. He responds with Pax, searching another Exosystem monster, and I respond with Branded in Red to get my Dragostapelia to have a negate on field for the next card to come. So let's see how this plays out. We are going for this, and obviously we get our Mirror Jade back, which can then banish again. Here's our Dragostapelia, which can negate. The effect, and if you're wondering, like this effect, it's a known effect. It stays on the field even if the monster is not longer on the field. This is also the case for spells, so if you would like destroy this spell but it was already in the chain, then it would resolve. That is not true for continuous field spells or traps, which need to stay on the field to resolve their effect. So I'm banishing the Martha, and now he uses the effect to XYZ summon from the deck because I moved something from the grave. This I definitely want to Dragostapelia, which I will do here, and now we get our Mirror Jade back. So we are ready for the next Exosister to come, to just banish it. There is it again, the Mirror Jade, an awesome animation, if you ask me, and yeah, this is negated, this will get banished, and from that point on, it looks pretty good for us. He scoops, and we have the first game in our pockets. So let's look at the next game. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see if we have some Ishizu cards this time around. So let's start in. The water field. I don't like it because of the fish. It's not my kind of field. So he starts the play, and oh, this is a frustrating one, guys. So he goes Kizikeel, and I go Herald, because Herald also, if you can read it here, destroys the card. So obviously this is some kind of sprite, and if I destroy their level 2 normal summon, then they might have to end their turn and not go even further, because I can negate this, he does not get the special summon, and this gets destroyed, and that would be awesome. I need to pitch a fairy for the effect, so I pitch the Ad Libitum, because normally I will use it from the grave with the Branded in Rot, in red. Unfortunately, he has the call by, which is pretty bad, so I basically went -2. That's also a reason why I'm not super happy with Herald of the Orange Light in this deck. It's a pretty expensive card, which works way better in the T-Elements deck. So we go for the Gigantic. I try to Ash this, so he cannot continue his plays. Unfortunately, he has a Crossout Designator, and I'm like, okay. So, yeah, I cannot stop him here. That's too bad. My Ash gets cross-outed, and then he goes for Ibli, which is even worse, because when this goes to graveyard, it comes back to our side and we cannot special summon. So this comes back, and I'm already like, okay, I will have to skip my battle phase to use this to crash into something here to get rid of this. So that's unfortunately already the plan. He goes for Kizikeel, which he then can special summon one Lila, which he does here, to go into the Lila Evil Twin, which then can special summon this again, which then can draw a card. Pretty annoying if you ask me, but yeah. And then again here comes Kizikeel, which can then special summon the Link monster again. But now it's our turn, we draw, we have Aluba, and of course, as I already said, we start by putting this into this, so we can get rid of it from the field. This dies, and we now can special summon. So the next play is that I summon my Albas to drop the Herald and to fuse with the board, because obviously Carrot cannot stop that, and I could go for the Aluba normal summon, get my Branded Fusion, but then Carrot could stop that, so there's no point in going for the Aluba. Fallen of Albas, and we drop the Herald. He goes for the special summon, which then enters the field, and this card will have the effect to destroy one card on the field, which would be my Fallen of Albas. But the thing is, this is Chain Link 1, this is Chain Link 2, and this can only resolve after this chain here has resolved completely. So what I do here is I use the Albas effect and fuse this away, because this cannot activate its effect right now. So now it's gone, and go for the Mirror Jade. And the plan is to banish the Carrot here, because I will show you, yeah, I go for the Albion, which will then get me a Branded in Red or a Branded Retribution, no, mainly a Branded in red, and then I can make plays on the opponent's turn, namely summoning the Chimera. And I wanted to do it this way and then banish the carrot so he cannot negate my Branded in red. Unfortunately, as we will see in a moment, when I use this, he has another Ash. So it's really a hand trap festival right here. And yeah, unfortunately this gets ashed, and now I am left with the Mirror Jade, who has banished and is no longer alive. And let's see how the rest of the game plays out. He uses his Elf to get back material, then Jet to get Smashers, and at this point I'm like, okay, that looks bad, he can now Smashers my Gigantic. He goes for the Catfish, which makes this have 6,400 attack. We will see this in a moment. Of course, he just goes for the Sprite line now, then goes into the Cat Shark. This has 6-4 now, and he can banish my Mirror Jade with the Cat Shark, and it's gone, and now we have lost the game. So very unfortunate. The Ishizu cards were very expensive to activate, or the Herald was very expensive to activate, didn't bring us any good, so let's see what we can do in the next replay. So let's look what happens here, and these, by the way, are games that happened in a row. So I played these 4 games that I want to show you because I want to show you the real experience on the ladder, not like, oh, I pick out all the games that I won and then call it a day and I'm saying, oh, this deck is super good. So notice we are going first here, like last time we went second. I start with Branded Opening to pitch this to go for the Aluba, which can search as the Branded Fusion, and this also gets activated. Unfortunately, we get impermanenced here. So my plan changes now. I am left with the Branded in red, which I can use now. I go for the Ad Libitum. This gets negated. I set these, and I am set up for the next turn to use my Branded in red, because we got negated here. And that's the problem with the Branded deck. It's very, very like weak to any kind of negations. So be it the impermanence, but mainly, of course, Ash. That's a big weakness of this deck. And we're going up against Florent de Ries. So I am starting with Branded in red, and he removes my Branded Opening, which is protection for my cards. But yeah, well, what can I do? So he removes this with the Stri. I go for the Branded in red, as we will see in a moment. And I go for the Guardian Chimera to get rid of his normal summon. So the idea being that he can now normal summon again, and then he can normal summon one of the bigger monsters, Ampan or Razor. I want to get rid of one of these monsters, so he only has like 1 material to tribute summon, which then he cannot use. So let's see how this goes. He goes for Eaglin, activates effect to search the big monster, as I would call it. We go Chimera here, and this we have also, and we can search another Aluba for our next round. This unfortunately is not live, because you either need 1 fusion monster on the field with Albaz in the fusion materials, or you need 2 in the grave with Albaz as fusion materials, and then you can negate something on board. So I wanted to try this out, but for now I'm not super happy with this card. So we destroy the Eaglin, doesn't really matter, and he draws his Razor, the Mega Monarch. Our hand is dead now, and our plays are dead now on the field, so we cannot do anything else. He goes for the map, which then he has the ability to play the map and then make another normal summon. But of course, at this point, it was like, okay, either have it or don't. So this is Razor, we know that, and the situation could have been that there was no other Florent de Ries card in hand, and then this would have done nothing. But unfortunately for us, he has another card. He plays it, gets back his Eaglin to hand to continue plays on the next turn, and then goes for the Razor in a moment. He also gets his trap back, which allows him plays on our turn, and he now Razors our board. This is very unfortunate, because now we are basically out of options here. And as he already searched the trap and has the field spell, we basically have to play into the field spell, because we need to normal summon the Aluba, we need to normal summon a monster, and then we will activate all the plays. But he also has the trap, so it doesn't matter, he can play on our turn. This is the strength of the Florent de Ries deck. We play the Aluba, he can now use this to normal summon, and let's speed this up a bit, because yeah, we get the Branded Fusion, but now he is on his place. He gets the Toucan back. Playing the Toucan and getting 1 banished card back. Eaglin goes for, I think, the Empen or maybe the Apex Avian, the Negate. Oh yeah, it is the Apex Avian, the Negate. He goes for the Negate, and now we are basically done here because, yeah, this is our hand. We can do nothing with these 4 cards, and we are stuck with the Branded Fusion, which now can simply be negated by the Apex Avian. That's what he does. That's a pretty smart play, and I, yeah, basically now go battle phase, battle over this, and pass over to him. At this point, have given up, but I want to get my quests done, so I let him finish me, which, yeah, he will do here. We don't need to look this any further. This is a game loss for us, but let's look at the next game. Maybe we can win there. This is the last replay I have for you. We are right now 1 loss, 2 losses, 1 win. Let's see what Branded Ishizu can do. I mean, of course, these are 4 games, so this is not like, oh, this is definitely a good deck on the ladder right now or a bad deck. But I think it's a good data point to have some first impressions, and I will speak about that in a moment. Here, Pot of Desires, and I'm going to Ash this. This looks like Sword Soul, which we will see in a moment is Sword Soul. Of course, the Ash can get caught by the Graved, so we are very unlucky today when it comes to hand trap interactions. But we have the Max C left, which I guess it's pretty good. He cannot call by the Grave the Max C because he already used this for the Ash. So he goes for Ecclesia, I drop the Max C, which resolves, lucky for us. Then he goes for his, I think, Moye. Yeah, that's right. He goes for Moye, and you know the place. Get the token, go into the Sword Soul Grandmaster Shishao. We draw another Ash, which is pretty good. He draws 2 cards. One with Moye and the other one being the Blackout with the Grandmaster. It's pretty interesting that he doesn't go for the Long Yan, but I guess he doesn't have another card to show off in hand. So it's our turn and we are drawing. Hand looks okay, and I am starting with the Branded Fusion because that's the only play I have right now. We're starting with Branded Fusion. This resolves, and the problem is I am aware that he will just Grandmaster my Lubellion, but with the Tragedy I have the ability to get my Aluba, which can then get me my Branded in red, which I then can make plays with. That was the thought process here. So he negates this. Of course, I was able to drop the Mudora in grave, which now I can use to shuffle 3 cards back out of his grave. And that's the purpose of Mudora. We go for Normal Summon here, and I go for the Branded in red. But obviously, this is now a perfect timing for him to activate his Blackout, which he will do in a moment. We go Branded in red to go for the Mirror Jade, and now I am activating it, targeting here, and we get Blackouted. So these 2 are gone, but of course he also needs to tribute these, the guy, and we get in the end phase our Albion effect. So at least we have that going for us. And this is funny now. I put Caught by the Grave here, and he can see that I have the Branded in red here. In the end phase he uses Cyclone. I'm like, oh no, my Branded in red. But for some reason he doesn't hit the Branded in red. I don't understand why he did it like this. Cannot really understand it. So yeah, he reveals the Vishuda, which I changed the Branded in red to at least have a presence, a monster on the field to interact with his plays. So let's do that. I go for the Despian Cuartis because the other option would have been to go for the Masquerade, the Blazing Dragon, but the problem is I will not kill him with the 600 life points pay, and this can put the board at 0 attack, which is the only reasonable interaction point I have here. So then I can draw Aluba with the Tragedy, and now he goes into the Monk play. Now I activate my Mudora because obviously he wants to use his Vishuda to bounce back my Cuartis. I use Mudora and put back this and all the Sword Soul cards so that if he has a Taya in hand, he cannot use his Grave to make token. That was the thinking in my head. He gets back the Moye, is able to summon the Moye, which now I don't have any interruptions for, unfortunately. Shows the Vishuda and goes into token and then into the Grandmaster. I now am going to Ash the Moye draw because I I figure I cannot ash anything else because if he have the Sword Soul Emergence, I guess he would have started with this, so I ash this. I think it's the only target I will get. He has now the Long Yarn, which then he plays and summons the token, and this is like the last interaction point I have to activate a Desperate Inquisitor's effect, because now Baron comes and then he could potentially negate and also destroy this card, which I really don't want. So I activate this. Also, if he would destroy this card by Baron effect, then the board would be enough to kill me, because this plus the Baron and the 1200 from the Long Yarn is like 8000 damage. That's a good thing you can remember against Sword Soul. This is always 8000, that's enough. So the Monk is the thing he needs to kill you. So yeah, but he also has the shooter play now, and he pushes 3000. And now I'm in a bad situation because I draw and I have my Desperate Tragedy in grave to get back my Branded Fusion. I also have Aluba and Fallen of Albas. Problem being is that if I play the Fallen, he can negate this with the Grandmaster. If I play Aluba, he can negate it with the Grandmaster, and he can negate this Tragedy, not with the Grandmaster, but with a Baron. So if he does it the right way, I'm basically done here. I start with the Graveyard, which he correctly negates with the Baron. But no, sorry, he doesn't. He was like, okay, he will put the Branded Fusion here and then I can negate it with the Baron, but he negates the Fallen of Albas effect. Has a Ghost Ogre as well. I think if he hadn't had a Ghost Ogre, he would have negated it with the Grandmaster. And this is basically the end for us, because he has more negates than we have plays. I pass over to him once again because I want the gems, I want the missions, but unfortunately we lost another game. And yeah, my conclusion when it comes to branded Ishizu, or as I said in the beginning already, branded in general on the ranked ladder right now, I think it's not that great. There are way better decks out there. I also played like 20 games with pure branded, but never managed to do something great. So yeah, at the moment on the ladder, not a really great experience, and I don't think that the Ishizu cards work like great or are a great addition to the branded strategy. I would say if you want to play branded, which you definitely can, and you can also in theory climb to Diamond 1, I think it will be a hard grind, but you can definitely reach Diamond 5 without any big problems. But yeah, we have this list. I would suggest better run the normal branded list, but yeah, this is was my experience today on the ladder with the branded Ishizu cards. Please write in the comments if you like the style of video I did. If you like this, okay, I play 4 games and then I show you the games, even if I lost the games, because I think this is way more like real, and this is a better option to answer the question, is this a good deck on ladder right now, than only showing you the wins. I think it doesn't make any sense. This was the real deal. I think this deck is not very great right now, but you can go for yourself, you can pick it up, try it out yourself. I'm happy that you have been here with me, maybe to the end if that is the case. Thank you, and we will see each other in the next one.